This is probably why you're not making any progress. Most people are wasting months or like even years trying to find the perfect exercises. But like in reality, switching your workouts constantly is probably just killing your gains. The mistake is really common, so I'm going to tell you what to do instead and why it's holding you back. So constantly changing exercises kind of just makes it impossible to know that if you're actually making progress or not. And progressive overload just basically means, in the simplest terms, is adding weight or reps or maybe even improving your form over time to your exercises. That's how your muscles grow. Your body adapts to the stress, so then you have to push it harder, so then it just makes additional adaptations. But if you're jumping between programs every week, you're never going to 100% know if you're actually making that progress or not. If you're sticking to the movements every time, you're going to be able to accurately measure that increase in weight or reps compared to just switching every exercise every single session, and you're kind of just guessing because you're not keeping the variables the same. It's kind of just hoping that you did it right instead of knowing that you did it right. If you're progressing and you can actually see that increase over time, you know that you're doing something right. Like, you literally have the proof right there. But then in addition, it's not just physical, it's mental too. Like, the fitness industry really does thrive on confusing people. Like, one influencer tells you that push-pull legs is the best, and then the next will tell you that full body's the best, and then another one will tell you that a bro split's the best, which would be 100% wrong, by the way. It just makes it easy for you to always double guess whether the decision that you made was the right one, and that constant doubt that you have might just lead to some sort of frustration, and for a lot of people it kind of makes them give up entirely. So here's a simple example, right? Lifter A sticks with a simple basic routine for 12 weeks. So for a push workout, he does an incline dumbbell press, a pec deck, maybe some dips, a shoulder press, and then finishing off with lateral raises. He trains hard, he tracks his progress, and he eats right. Now, this might not be the most optimal workout. That doesn't really matter for this example. And then lifter B hops between 15 different exercises from different YouTube programs, trying out new chest exercises every session, and never really sticking with one program long enough to actually measure any sort of improvement. Who do you think makes more progress? I mean, it's not even close. And I know this because I myself used to be lifter B. I wasted so many months swapping exercises, chasing the newest trend, and wondering why my physique wasn't growing as well as others. The day that I stopped overthinking this process and just built myself a program that I enjoyed, I could stick to, my strength and my size just shot up like it was night and day. The lesson is simple, is that consistency beats novelty every single time. So here's what actually fucking works, right? Instead of searching endlessly for the perfect exercise, just do the ones that you enjoy and stick to them. And now this might go against what science-based lifters say, but honestly I don't really give a fuck. Like, in my opinion, yeah, like, you are training to build muscle. Some people might want to do it the fastest way possible, but in my opinion, if you're not fucking enjoying what you're doing, like, what the fuck is the point? Like, at the end of the day, your muscles don't know whether you're using dumbbells, barbells, machines, or whatever. It just responds to tension and proximity to failure. So what matters most is you're actually consistently doing exercises and gradually getting better at them over time. Like, if you hate doing an exercise, you're just gonna dread going into it. And then in addition, your perception of effort might be off as well, which means that you won't be training as hard as if you were doing an exercise that you enjoyed. That's also a factor to consider here. So if you hate doing exercise, you're just not going to be consistent with it, and it's as simple as that. So here's how this looks in practice. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a push workout here. So for chest, I prefer to do 2 movements here. One movement that is kind of biasing the upper pec here, and then another movement that's just kind of working your whole chest but kind of more focuses on the lower and middle pec. And that can be literally any variation that you want. Like, if you want to do an upper pec bias press, you would benefit from doing an incline press where your arm or where shoulder flexion is involved. So typically people will do that on incline movements because it makes it easier to get that shoulder flexion like that. So you could do an incline fly, you could do an incline dumbbell press, you could do an incline barbell press, you could do an incline Smith press. Honestly, anything where your arm angle is going up like this, that's going to work your upper chest. And then any regular chest movement like a pec deck or a regular barbell bench press, regular dumbbell bench press, regular Smith, regular machine, it all works the same because the chest is training horizontal abduction. So if it's going in like this, you're going to be working your whole chest. You don't have to press either. you can just do a pec deck or some sort of fly and that'll work the chest perfectly fine. Same with the triceps, you can focus on the long head by just doing push downs where your upper arm is kind of close in line with your body. That'll work your long head pretty well. You can use a rope if you want, you can use a bar, it really doesn't matter. And then your medial and lateral head of your tricep works or is getting worked during presses or your regular presses anyway, but you could also do an overhead extension, a dip, honestly any sort of tricep movement that you want, it's just going to work fine. And then for your shoulders, I recommend just doing a shoulder press and then any sort of lateral raise variation that you want, and then that's your push workout pretty much done. So again, the key is picking exercises, sticking to them and progressing them over time. That is as simple as it gets. And don't get me wrong, there are times where you should change exercises. Like if a movement is causing you pain, it's probably a good idea to switch that one out to another one. Maybe your gym doesn't have the right equipment for the exercise that you want to do. Obviously you're going to have to do a different one. Or if you stalled for weeks on a lift and you've eliminated every other possible factor for that happening, a few of them being your sleep, your nutrition, swapping that out makes complete sense. But that is not to be confused with program hopping, because that doesn't really happen that often. That's just adjusting your program smartly. I literally used to overthink this all the time. Like I was looking up YouTube videos being like, oh, is a barbell bench press better than a dumbbell bench press? Or what about a machine bench press or a Smith press? Reality is the difference is so fucking small that your enjoyment is more important than a couple of % increase. Would have just been much better off just picking one of them and just sticking to it consistently. I wasted so much time searching for perfection. A lot of influencers certainly just overcomplicate things. Like they'll sell you new flashy exercises that don't really work as well, you know, just to look cool on Instagram, like doing any sort of like Bosu ball training, or just some other weird combo like a fucking bicep curl going into a squat. Like it just doesn't really make a lot of sense because the strength difference between your bicep and your fucking glutes and your quads is very substantial. So why would you use the same weight? And then you've got niche advice like an exercise or a certain bicep exercise bias the short head of the bicep. First of all, you can't, by the way, and second, it doesn't really apply to 99% of lifters. They just kind of need to focus on getting big in the first place instead of biasing the peak of a bicep. But this kind of content sells because people are searching for that secret or some sort of shortcut in order to get the physique that they want, because they know that just selling or just recording a regular chest workout doesn't really sell as much. But if they do something crazy that's kind of gimmicky, they know that it'll get more views and clicks. But the truth is there is no secret. The basics have worked for literal decades and people have built great physiques off of them. Like the progress comes from consistency, progressive overload and effort. Like the thing is, bodybuilding is actually very, very simple. Train close to failure, train consistently, and train with effort. That's like 90% of the game. And people get so overwhelmed with this information that it just makes them want to quit so easily. But that fucking sucks, because if they just stuck to the basic, it would get them 99% of the way there. If this video helped you, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try my best to post no bullshit information, and if you want a plan tailored specifically to you and your needs, check out my one-on-one online coaching and training guides at scottcreasypt.com. Holy shit, I need a fucking haircut.